What is happening, people? Welcome to this combined 11 video for Tottenham versus Liverpool in the Premier League. I'm delighted to say that once again I'm joined by Nazira. I'm really excited to get into this video. But Nazira, firstly, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Remind people a bit, what you do and tell people a little bit about you.
Yes, so I am a football journalist covering Liverpool, and I cover the pre-match and post-match press conferences as well as watch Liverpool on a regular as a Liverpool fan.
Good stuff, thank you. And you were at Arne Slot's press conference,
Press
weren't you,
conference.
today? And David
Yes, I
Moyes.
was. He had some very interesting team news, which we'll talk about when we are discussing our predicted lineups.
Interesting stuff. Thank you, Nazira. I really do appreciate it. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're new, I want to say thank you for the support in 2025. Much appreciated. The growth from last year is crazy. If you look at just YouTube, for example, about 100,000 views in 2024, but 1.1 million in 2025. So that's the scale of the difference. So it wouldn't be possible without the amazing people I have on the show, such as Nazira, and the wonderful people listening as well and supporting me. So thank you for listening via audio and a podcast platform. Your support as well is massively appreciated. Please drop us a follow and a 5-star review. A lot of you listen there and all through to the end and in different countries too. So big up to each and every single one of you. Please do get in touch as well where you are listening from and what you've made of all the content this year. It'd be great to hear from you. But let's get straight into it. Nazira, I'll start with your first team if that's okay. And for people who don't know, we've both done two teams. One that is with just fit and available players. Of course, both of them are Tottenham and Liverpool combined in our opinions, but one is also, where we get onto a bit later, a bit more what I call free roam. It's out of everyone, including injured players and players at AFCON, etc., etc. But Nazira, if you could read through the 11 and then explain your choices, please.
Yes, so in goal, I've gone with Alisson Becker. Next up is back four, and at right back, I've gone with Liverpool's Conor Bradley. And then on the opposite flank, I've gone with Robertson. And then my two centre-backs, I have gone with Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk. And then I've gone with Spurs' Mickey van der Ven. And then in midfield, I've gone with Dominic Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch, and Florian Wirtz. And then my front three is going to be Kudus from Spurs, and then you've got Hugo Ekitike, and then you've got Alexander Isak leading the line.
Great stuff. Would you like to explain to people your choices and thinking behind it?
Yes, of course. So Alisson Becker, of course. To be fair, I don't think anybody would disagree with me unless you are a very strong Spurs fan. And I would say Alisson Becker is probably one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world. And he's the reason as to why Liverpool have been so successful, kept so many, probably not this season, but definitely towards them going on to win that title last season, kept so many clean sheets so early on. But the only downfall, of course, is his injuries. And I just think Alisson Becker has been the reason for Liverpool's success. Obviously, they spent massive money for him when they bought him. And the reason why is because he's the best goalkeeper in the world. And I'm going to stand by that. And that's why I've chosen him. And then next up is Conor Bradley. And why I've gone with Conor Bradley is because at this moment in time, I prefer him a lot more than the Tottenham fullbacks, because I feel as though Tottenham in recent games and just this season really have shown how not weak they are, but also how easily exposed they can be if they are attacking. Whereas Conor Bradley, he has both elements to his game where he can defend as well as attack. And we've seen that since he's come back from his injury, where he played against Leeds and he played against Brighton. No, sorry, he was suspended against Brighton. But against Leeds, when he came back from his injury, he's shown what he's capable of providing, not just defensively, but attacking-wise as well. Andy Robertson, similar reasons, really. I feel as though he's a lot more of a player where Liverpool, and also just in general as a team, you do need him because he does provide that experience. He's played in Champions League finals, etc. And he's also won 2 Premier League titles. So I feel as though for Andy Robertson, he is very vital to have in a team. And don't forget as well, he is probably he is probably one of the most influential defenders when it comes to assists, because I think he is the most, probably one of the left backs where he's got the most assists in the Premier League, I think. So I would definitely choose Andy Robertson. And then my two centre backs, of course, Virgil van Dijk, the best centre back in the world. And I'm going to go with Mickey van der Ven alongside him, just because of the fact that Virgil van Dijk at this moment in time, yes, he is at his very best, but he isn't slowing down anytime. He is going to slow down at one point, and I feel as though the attributes that Mickey van der Ven does go on and have, he can help Van Dijk when it comes to the pace, the power, etc. So that is why that is my back four. And then next up is my midfield, Dominic Szoboszlai, the player of the season, of course. I am going to go with him. Ryan Gravenberch is, of course, Liverpool's main CDM and the most influential player last season. He is probably one of the shining lights to Liverpool's transfer strategy, where they do go for players. And Ryan Gravenberch very much went under the radar just because of the fact that he didn't really play a massive role during his time at Bayern Munich. And he very much has transformed this Liverpool midfield since his arrival. And then Florian Wirtz, of course, he hasn't really lived up to the heights at this moment in time. But I do think it comes to a point where he is going to be the shining light of this Liverpool midfield, and he's going to show as to why Liverpool paid the 100 and I think it was 35 million for him, wasn't it? So I am gonna go with that ball figure because it was 100 million guaranteed, and he will eventually show why he was 100 million. And to be honest, he wasn't voted player of the season during his time in the Bundesliga for no reason. He definitely has the capabilities and the attribute to show why he's the best midfielder and should be regarded in predicted 11s such as mine when it comes to picking them, basically. And then my front three is going to be Mohamed Kudus, just because of Liverpool currently do not have Mohamed Salah. Obviously, he's at the Africa Cup of Nations, so that's the reason as to why I put him in. And then on the left, I've gone with Hugo Ekitike, even though plenty of people will be wondering why I haven't started him down the middle, is because at this moment in time, Cody Gakpo is currently out with an injury and he isn't going to be featuring in the game versus Spurs. Arne Slot did go on and confirm that this morning as well in his press conference. So I am going to put Hugo Ekitike off the left. The good thing about Hugo Ekitike as well is the fact that he can play down the left and he can play the middle, anywhere across the front three. He is very much a versatile attacker where he can play in numerous positions. We've seen it this season as well, not just in the Premier League but in the Champions League as well. And then you've got Alexander Isak. Of course, I'd be a bit silly not to go and put in the most expensive Premier League player in history in this starting lineup, regardless of form, even though he's only gone and scored in one game so far this season, which was against West Ham. And also, if you count in all competitions, he's gone on to score 2 goals against Southampton in the League Cup and also against West Ham, and he's only gone and registered himself 1 assist. But I think it'd be silly of me not to go on and put him in, because we all saw last season what he did at Newcastle. Hopefully, same as Wirtz, time will come where he will be showing why Liverpool paid the big money for him. So yeah, that is my predicted 11 and the reasons why.
Nazira, thank you. Before we get on to my team, there's only one thing I will say. I'm interested to know Jed Spence. How close is he to getting a left back over Robertson? Because of course we haven't seen him too much, Robertson, this season.
Yeah, and I feel as though for Jed Spence, he is a really good player. However, I just think Andy Robertson just edges it for me. Although Andy Robertson hasn't played much this season, I think with him, it's more of a leadership thing, in my personal opinion, because with him being the Scotland captain as well, I think he will be a lot more vocal. I feel as though for Jed Spence, he's quite young compared to Robertson. So
True.
that would be one of my main reasons. I feel as though we need a mature head when it comes to these type of fixtures, because let's not forget, Spurs have given us some hard games in the last couple of seasons. Even though we did go on and beat you 6-3 at your ground last season, and we did beat you at Anfield in that 5-1 win, which secured us a Premier League title. I just think with Andy Robertson, he provides that nastiness and that cutting edge that you need if you need to go on and tighten up. Whereas Dave Spence, he seems a little bit naive, where he would get into challenges very rashly, and he doesn't really have that mature head on him that Andy Robertson does have. So that's why I went with Andy Robertson over Dave Spence.
Nazira, thank you. It's nicely explained. Thank you very much. So this would be my team then, with just players that are available to both managers and both clubs. So Allison in goal. I'll read it out then, explain it. Bradley, right back. Spence, left back. Romero and Van der Ven as the centre backs. So Bosley, Gravenberch and Bergwijn midfield. Kudus, Richarlison and Etitike up front. So let me explain. Allison in goal, I agree with Nazira, is a no-brainer. I like Vicario. I think he's overhated amongst the fan base, but Allison is such a good goalkeeper. Bradley at right back as well. I mean, I like Porro, but he's let Tottenham down too many times defensively again this season. Bradley, you can run him, in my view, a little bit more. I have gone with Spence at left back, hence why I challenged that just a little bit. When Nazira did explain that well. And in this type of game, she could well absolutely be right, because the point is very valid. I think overall, I think Spence got a little bit more about him, a little bit more versatile. This is really hard at centre back, if I'm honest with you. And Van Dijk was like so nearly there. If Liverpool hadn't have imploded a little bit defensively this season, Van Dijk definitely gets in there. It would have been Van der Ven and Van Dijk, no doubt about it. So that was incredibly close. Look back at it now, probably go, it is harsh to go with Romero and Van der Ven as well. Tottenham's clearly struggling as well defensively. In midfield, then, like I said, Bergwijn, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. For me, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai are the two absolutes. You know, I think Gravenberch, and Nazira said it last year, said it just there, sorry, and I think she's right, that last year Gravenberch was so important. I think Szoboszlai is what Gravenberch was last year. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think Szoboszlai is so key this year, even more than Gravenberch. But you're right, Gravenberch last year, key. Lucas Bergwijn in there, I think he could be a creative little gem. And out of Tottenham's midfield, for me, he's been the best one. Xavi Simons hasn't done enough to get in here. Kudus on the right, as Nazira said, Salah on AFCON, and Kudus has been Tottenham's best signing for me. Etitike is a no-brainer. I've kind of cheated and put him at left wing, because both clubs struggling at left wing, in my view.
Yeah.
I don't think Liverpool have replaced someone like a Luis Diaz, who they clearly missed to this day. And Tottenham, right, let three left wingers go. This is no joke. In Son, Werner and Solomon, and didn't sign a single left winger. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? I do not know. And to go for Richarlison up top, I mean, that is incredibly harsh. I'm basing it purely off form. But Nazira, if this was based off quality, absolutely no doubt about it that Alexander Isak would be in there. But I've stuck Richarlison there for laughs, because he's in good form. But I know who's the better player. There's no doubt about that. If you said to me Richarlison or Isak, I know what I'm choosing every day of the week. But I thought Richarlison, no disrespect, but you're not going to get in any other combined 11. So let's throw you in there. You know, you're not going to get in at any other point of the season. So let's throw him in now. Isak isn't up and firing. But have you got anything to challenge me on, or anything to question, Nazira?
I was in absolute shock as soon as you put this up screen and I saw Richarlison's name. Like, I was like, what? How? But yeah, you made some really valid points. And as you just said, Liverpool and Spurs, they very much have similar problems, like we said in the preview. There's inconsistency, not just in terms of performance. I'd say right now, in terms of positioning, where we just don't know what Thomas Frank and Arne Slot's best 11 is. So, is much to my guess and your guess what he will put out, but we're obviously going to delve into that a little bit later on. In terms of this predicted 11, even the managers, I think, would disagree with some of our decisions. I'm not even joking.
Absolutely. No, I just thought Richarlison, of course, ex-Everton player, he's hit a little bit of form. I thought this was, I was going to put it online as well.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had that same motive, didn't he? He had that same incentive against Leeds. And he did go and score that penalty against Liverpool. And that ultimately galvanised Leeds to go on and have a comeback, make it 3-3. So who knows? And it's not like Richarlison hasn't scored against us before. he scored against us at Anfield. Remember the 4-3 game where Diego Jota scored last minute?
Yeah, I do.
With that one. So I'm not surprised you've gone with Richarlison just because of the fact that he's a lot better than Alexander Isak this season, and of course the options that we are both currently going through as a club, with you guys not having a recognised left winger, and also us with Cody Gakpo, and really Chiesa. Even though Chiesa predominantly does play on the right wing, he can play left wing as well, but he is not getting a look in as well. So the best next bet is Hugo Ekitike, who has played in the likes of Champions League and in the Premier League in that position, and he's done pretty well. But obviously, I'd much rather prefer him in centre. But I can't overlook Alexander Isak. Just can't.
No, fair enough. This is my favourite part next, and Zero, where we both give our team that is like everyone fit. So we forget about injuries, forget about suspensions, anyone unavailable.
We
We
go
have the
absolutely
whole
wild.
squad. Absolutely. Whole squad of both teams to pick from. So Nazira, this is your 11 then. Would you like to read it out again and talk people through why you've chosen that?
Of course.
Thank you.
Alisson in goal, of course, as I mentioned, the best goalkeeper in the world, no doubt about that. And obviously Vicario, as Harry said, he has had unfair criticism this season. Yes, a lot of his goals are not his fault. And I do think, though, just because of what Alisson gone on to prove in the game for a longevity of time, his longevity of it in the game, I think he just edges it for me. And then Conor Bradley, obviously youngster, and I think he's a really promising talent coming through. And then I'm gonna go with left back. I'm gonna go with Ndoggy. I feel as though what he's gone on to show for Spurs, just because of Milos Kerkez and Andy Robertson at the moment, because of their consistent form at Liverpool right now, and because of Ndoggy being injured, that's why I couldn't put him into my 11. I am gonna put Ndoggy in this one. And then my two centre backs are, of course, the same as what it was previously with Van Dijk and Van de Ven. And then my midfield, of course, is going to be the same with Dominic Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch, and Florian Wirtz. And my front three, Mohamed Salah, of course, at right winger. I could not go without him. Unfortunately, he does miss that game tomorrow, and I do feel as though it's quite unfortunate because in that game versus Brighton, he did show glimpses of what he is capable of doing when he's at his best, and I think Liverpool have missed that in the last couple of games. But obviously now he's off to AFCON, and hopefully he'll be able to go on and win Egypt the Africa Cup of Nations. But yeah, Liverpool have a job on their hands without him, but this is what I'm going to go with and pick him in this starting 11. And then alongside on the opposite flank, I'm going to go with Kudus, another winger who has plenty of pace and firepower and being Spurs' best signing. I agree with you on that. And then obviously Alexander Isak leading the line. But then I could have also gone with Hugo Ekitike, but like I said before, 125 million. It'd be silly not for me to have him in this side, regardless of his form at the moment, because as they say, form is temporary, class is permanent, and it isn't going to be very long till we see him unleash the goals.
Zero, thank you. Got two things to mention. One is about a Spurs player or two not being there, but one is actually about a Liverpool player. I'm surprised you've gone with Bradley over Jeremy Frimpong. Any reason why?
Jeremy Frimpong. I feel as though what we've seen of Jeremy Frimpong, even though he has had his injuries, when he's played in Champions League games, he looks more of a attacking right back, a right wing back, right winger, etc. And honestly, also alluded to this early on in his press conferences, and as to why he bought in Jeremy Frimpong. And he did go on and say the reason as to why I bought Jeremy Frimpong is more because of the fact that when Salah's absent for these Africa Cup of Nations games, he could be used in that role. And I feel as though what we've seen in Jeremy Frimpong, he's a lot more forward thinking rather than Bradley, who's a lot more defensive minded. And he's been he came through the ranks and he was there whilst Trent Alexander-Arnold was there. So he's learned quite a lot. What Honest, because obviously they were there together in Honest last season. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold's last season, while Slot was in his first season. And of course, he'll have learned what Trent had been doing, and that is what is expected from Honest Slot's fullback. So Conor Bradley will have more of an insight and will have a lot more traits that Honest Slot will have liked of Conor Bradley, because let's not forget, even when Conor Bradley is fit, when Jeremy Frimpong is fit, Honest Slot has gone on to choose Bradley a lot more frequently than Frimpong. So that's my main reasoning as to why I've gone for Bradley, and I just really like him as a player. And I think he's just been very unfortunate with injuries himself, Bradley. But just generally, I feel as though Liverpool in that right back spot has just been in crisis this season, similar to left wing as well, where we don't really have a nailed on player. But if I was to go for one, I'd go with Conor Bradley, just because of the fact that Jeremy Frimpong really hasn't shown what he is capable of in a Liverpool shirt, even though he has gone to show it in a Bayer Leverkusen shirt.
Lovely stuff, Nazira. Thank you very much. And the other thing is, of course, I mentioned there the right back, but you go with Florian Wirtz over someone like a Maddison, a Kulusevski, a Xavi Simons. Do you still, defend that choice? And how clear was it for you? Was it night and day? Like, it was a simple choice to put Wirtz in there, or do you think it was close?
It was a close one for me, because, as I've said to you previously in the preview video, that James Maddison is a really good creative player. However, in big games like this, he tends to go missing, which is probably one of the negatives and criticism that he goes on to receive, which is why I feel as though with Florian Wirtz, he is the player for these type of games where he can unlock defenses.
Fair enough.
And we've seen it in the Champions League, and we've seen it in while he was at Bayer Leverkusen. He was the Bundesliga player of the season, and the reason why is because he can unlock defenses, because no doubt Spurs will play with a deeper block where Liverpool have to have a lot of possession, and they'll have to unlock that Tottenham stubborn defense. And I think James Maddison, sometimes when it comes to these type of games, he just finds it difficult to assert himself in those type of positions that Florian Wirtz does, in those little pockets of space. I think with James Maddison, he tries too hard to go on and prove a point. So that's why I think that's why I think Florian Wirtz would be a lot more suited, and that's why he just misses out for me. Even Kulusevski, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player, and I think Spurs have massively missed him. But I just think that Florian Wirtz, he is like a top player for me, and he has to be included in it.
Nazira, thank you very much. Then lastly, then my team took you through it on screen now. Going for Alisson, Jeremy Frimpong, Spence, Van der Ven, Romero, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Kulusevski, Salah, Etitike, Kudus. I think this one maybe is a little bit more fair and balanced than my first one was. So I'm just going to explain the ones that I've changed, or the ones that I noticed that I have anyway. So Jeremy Frimpong at right back, I think he's very good. I liked him. Interesting that you raised that, because if you look at his career, he's always been better going forward than he has defensively. I see him as maybe slightly better than what Tottenham have in Porro. Need a little bit more about him. That's why I've opted for him. Kulusevski, I think football fans in general, but also Tottenham fans included in that, and maybe even mainly, I would say, forget how important he was. Our best player when he's available, no joke about it. Look at last season, he was available up until Christmas. He was Tottenham's best player. That was the reason that we were in a healthy-ish position.
Remember that game at the Etihad as well? That he was so good in that game. Probably one of my. If you talk about Kulusevski and you ask me what is his favorite game, I'd say that. And during that period as well, he was in the form of his life.
And don't get me wrong, he has to take dips. He's either like right up here, or he's struggling.
That's another thing with Kulusevski, and majority of those Spurs players where they go through a form where they're on a really massive high, but then when it goes wrong, it goes crashing down for all these players.
It certainly does. No, you're right. Absolutely. And you really notice it. And it's like, oh, should he even be in the team when he doesn't play well? But it's going to take some time when he gets back from injury. I still don't think we'll see him anywhere near his best. Similar to the Chelsea situation with Cole Palmer, nowhere near what we're going to see in terms of what he can produce this year. Is it the year to judge him on that when he's back, along with James Maddison for Tottenham? And then the only other changes up front, Mohamed Salah on that right-hand side coming in for, of course, Richarlison. You have to be serious now, and he is, of course, out of the team. Salah on the right, Kudus on the left for commentating Salah, and Etitike up front. So in terms of Tottenham players, you've got Romero, Van der Ven, Kulusevski, which is 3, and Kudus, which is 4. So a slightly more Liverpool-dominated team. Nazira, anything to say about that?
I find your pick of no Van Dijk in there interesting.
It's harsh. Yeah, it's definitely harsh. It's, for me, ideally you play a back 3, but then you have to probably take out one of those midfielders. You can, of course, take out an attacker, but for me, ideally you have, a 3, because both teams play with a 3, and then to take one of those attackers out, and for example, in this case, Salah, Etitike, and Kudus is extremely tough. So that's my thinking.
And I was thinking, both of us haven't done this, and the fact that we've gone and overlooked a World Cup winner, a Premier League winner, and that is Alexis McAllister. Yeah.
I've got one in there, Romero. But you're all right.
Premier League winner, come on.
Yeah, fair enough. That's special.
It just shows like Liverpool's midfield is an absolute world-class midfield.
Yeah.
And I think with Liverpool, it's all about making them click. We've just got too many players in too many, positions. And another one is that I find your pick of Alexander Isak interesting.
Or Etitike.
Yeah. Yeah, Etitike.
Well, I think he's in better form than Isak, and I actually think his ceiling's a little bit higher. I think Isak is class. We saw that at Newcastle, but I actually think Etitike could be even better than that. I really do.
You think?
I like him a lot. Yeah, only slightly. I have 2 great strikers, by the way, and that could be difficult to manage. It's good. As much as you want 2 good strikers, I do think it's as much of a problem as it is a positive. But Etitike at the moment for me, like if you ask me honestly, Nazira, who do I fear the most this weekend? It would be Etitike. I wouldn't put it past him.
Who would you prefer starting up top?
I would prefer Isak starting up top because of the form, but I still worry about that, of course. But in terms of Liverpool players to watch, it would be Etitike would be the top of my list at this moment. Yeah. Of course, no Salah. Salah's not in great form, so he might not be top of that anyway. But you still, Salah's a big game player in moments. So you have to, of course, watch him if he would be available. Yeah. But Szoboszlai as well, from the edge of the box. Szoboszlai, in control of that midfield. But Etitike would be the one. I think his movement is, so good off the ball in particular. His movement's really good. He has a lot about his game.
Really good. Yeah.
Isak's great, but there's some areas where he's limited, in the air, for example.
I think pre-season has limited that a lot. Has had a massive, massive effect.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you very much. And, for those that didn't see the preview, would you like to give your quick thoughts and score prediction for Saturday's game?
I don't even remember what I predicted now. No, actually, I do remember. My prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. And I am going to go with... am I giving the goal scorers again?
Yeah, go for it.
If I can remember who I said was going to score. I don't remember who I said.
I'm surprised if you do. I don't remember what I said.
I'm just going to go with a 2-2 draw. Let's just go with that. And if you guys want to see who I think is going to score, then you go check out the preview.
Yeah, and we covered a lot in that. It was 93 minutes, the opposition preview. We covered a lot of things, Tottenham, Liverpool, Premier League officials. So, yeah, do check that out because it was a great episode. I agree with you, by the way. I can't remember what I said yesterday, so call me out if I'm changing my mind completely, but I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw. Can never predict my side to lose, but at the same time, deep down, I'm worried about this game. I'm worried about the way we're playing. And
I was very surprised when I saw that Spurs hadn't won, after they won those 2 games in the Champions League and the Premier League, they hadn't won a game at home this season since then.
It's worrying. Our home form's not good. And the problem is, if we go, let's say, 2-0 down inside 10 minutes, exactly like we did, or against not even 9 minutes, I think, against Fulham, that's when the place turns nasty, and that just doesn't help the team. It doesn't help Frank, and it's nearly game over from there. It does mean that, of course, the players need to improve, that pressure on them, but it's not a nice place to be at all. So for Tottenham, the start is crucial. If we get the first goal, then we've got a little bit of a chance. So first goal matters, of course, when it's scored. But Nazira, anything to say before we end the combined 11 video?
I just hope Liverpool win. Even though I predicted a draw, I just hope Liverpool go on and win.
I hope not. I'm allowed to say so. But no, thank you so much for joining me today. Remind people what you do.
Thank you for having me. Enjoyed it.
No worries. Where can people follow you as well?
Enjoyed it as well. And let us know your thoughts in the comments about our teams. No matter good or bad, let us know.
Absolutely. Please do plug your socials though. Remind people what you do.
Yes, that is my social media handle on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on it, so drop me a follow. All the exclusive behind the scenes are Premier League match days and press conferences, etc. And anything Liverpool related, I'll be there giving you all the details. So yeah, drop me a follow.
Can you read it out as well for those listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music?
Yes, of course. So my @ is @Nazira, NAZIRA _Yusuf, YUSUF, and then 2022.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Nazira. By now, you know that I'm Harry Scarfe. You can follow me @Harry Scarfe22 across all socials. Thank you so much for watching this combined 11 video. Like I said at the start, thank you for all the support recently. Enjoy the game. Sorry, Nazira, but I hope Tottenham win.
You came along just like a song, and brightened my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems